About 5 years ago, I decided that I wanted an excavator, and I really didn't know that much about them. And I had rented one in the past and did one project, but that was like 20 some years ago. And so I did a little bit of research. I learned a lot of things, but in that 5 years of ownership, I've learned a lot more. And if you have questions about excavators, excavator size, should I rent, should I buy, this video is for you. Let's jump right into it. I've got two excavators here. This one I own, and that one is a rental from Paris Tractors. If you didn't know, some dealers, I know Bobcat dealers do it, but also Kubota dealers do rentals, and Paris Tractor has 8 locations in the Southeast, and they rent excavators, tractors, mini skid steers, full-size skid steers, implements.
More than a tractor store.
If you're looking for a rental, they probably have something that will work for you. And what I really like about Paris Tractor Rentals is that you get a relatively new machine with low hours. It's not something that a private rental company has bought and it's 10 years old and is really a loose machine and is going to have maintenance issues. The two things I've had, a skid steer and an excavator, were like new, and they ran great, no issues, and I highly recommend them. Okay, very first thing, this number means absolutely nothing. This is a KX71, a relatively small excavator. In fact, Kubota doesn't make this model anymore, and I have no idea what these numbers mean, but they don't give you an indication of the weight of the excavator, the horsepower of the excavator. I do know that the 3 at the end means it's the 3rd iterations of this series. So this is the 3rd generation of the KX71. You'll see over here, this is a KX40-5, meaning it's the 5th generation of this KX line. But even though the number is smaller than the KX71, it's a much bigger machine with a lot more power. And the reason it's so dirty is because I've been working on my pond renovation, and all that white stuff on there is bentonite clay. We've been working on that pond for a couple weeks with not only this excavator, but also a rental skid steer from Paris Tractor, our tractor, our excavator, and all those videos are down below in our pond playlist. Unlike tractors, where the primary focus or concern is horsepower of the unit, when it comes to excavators, you're going to find that they're classified by weight. So what we have here with the KX71 is what's called a 3-ton machine. It's 6,300 pounds, so it's a little bit more than 3 tons, but the way excavators are classified is their capability to dig. How much can they reach out? How far down can they dig? How much weight can they lift? All that kind of falls under the broad spectrum of what is the weight of the machine. So we got a 3-ton machine over here, and then when we come over here, we have a 6-ton machine. So this is a 12,000 pound machine, which is 4 times bigger than the KX71. It doesn't look 4 times bigger. It's 40 horsepower. You got 27 horsepower over here. But again, the machines are classified based on the weight of the machine. And that's confusing. If you're a homeowner and you're looking to rent, the very first thing they're going to ask you, and even if you want to buy a machine, the first thing they're going to ask you is, how many ton machine do you want? So you're asking yourself, why is the weight of the machine so important? Well, a lot of it has to do with track width, stability, how much can it push, how much can it lift, how deep can it go. All those things, as you get into the bigger machines, are going to be, a bigger machine can do more. It's more capable. It makes perfect sense, right? Well, what I was running into is I have a trailer, a dual axle trailer that can hold about 10,000 pounds. Well, 2,000 pounds of that is the trailer itself. So I'm left with about 8,000 pounds of trailer capacity. My truck can only tow 10,000 pounds-ish. It's a half-ton pickup, a GMC with a V8, and this is the biggest machine that I can safely tow behind that rig and on that trailer. I cannot get anything bigger than this behind my truck just because of the towing characteristics of it. And I wanted this machine to work around the homestead here, but I also wanted to be able to travel to like my hunting lease or something and do work there. So that was a consideration for me. Another consideration was just physical size of the machine. You can see the width of the KX71. It's much smaller than the width of the KX40, and I need to get in a lot of tight spaces, so I didn't want a big machine like this. Not to mention that this machine probably costs 50% or more than that one. Another consideration when you're buying or renting is, do you want a zero tail swing machine, or do you want one that has more counterweight out the back? Now, to me, this type of machine, and for Kubota, the K series, the KX series, are the ones with the counterweight off the back, and their U series are the ones with zero tail swing. And what zero tail swing means is that this is called the house of an excavator, that this stays fully contained within the width of the track when it spins. The KX series doesn't. It's going to extend out past the tracks a couple feet depending on the size of the machine. And where that's important is if you're like right next to a house and you want to dig some water lines or something, you can put the house right here on this machine, but you can't turn it very much. And if you had a zero swing, you could turn right next to a house and not hit a house, not hit a car, not hit your steel building. So that's something else to think about. Do you want a zero tail swing, or do you want one with the rear counterweight? Like I mentioned, I think this is best for me, but I've also been in the woods where I thought I had enough clearance on a tree, and when I swung around, I hit the tree and messed up the bark, and then the tree died. And that's something to take into consideration, renting or buying. So if you're looking for a straight up yes or no go gauge, I would say it's going to be dependent on the job. But unless you're trying to get in really tight spaces, like you're in a neighborhood and you don't have much space between your houses, I would say a 3-ton machine can probably do just about everything you want it to do. It's small enough that you can get it in the tight places, and it's big enough that it can handle big jobs. Like if you have a decent sized stump and you want to be able to dig that out, but you also want to dig a trench for a water line or an electrical line, I've got a 12-inch bucket for this. It currently has the 18-inch bucket on it, and between those two buckets, I can either one, move a lot of dirt like with the bigger bucket, or two, I use the 12-inch bucket for trenching, and then I don't disturb the ground as much. So I would say 3-ton machine if you have moderate sized jobs, and then I would look at kind of the much smaller machines if you're trying to get in your backyard and you have a lot of tight spaces. And some of those machines, the tracks will actually retract and get smaller, so you can go through a fence or a gate. Neither one of these machines are going to retract. I mentioned to have a lot of years and a lot of hours on this machine. I'm over 400 hours on my personal machine, and I do know that there are some limitations. Number one, it's a basic machine, so my dozer blade, I call it, on the front, or grader blade, is completely fixed. It either goes up or it goes down. It doesn't turn, it doesn't tilt, it doesn't do any of that. I don't even think there's a float function. On this KX40, this blade will articulate left or right. Now it doesn't tilt, so it's not a 6-way blade, but it does have a float function, so you jam the handle down and it'll maintain the same level without digging in or creating rises, and it'll shift left or right to push the dirt left or right. And I found that invaluable yesterday because I was doing final shaping on my pond, and I wanted to move some dirt that was close to the bank, and by turning that blade, I could do it real easily. So another consideration, if you're gonna do a lot of grading, you want at least a blade that will turn. And if you're gonna do complicated blading or complicated grading, you want a 6-way blade that not only turns this way, but also tilts, so that you could like dig a ditch or something and keep the machine level and have one end of the blade go down and dig in. A hydraulic thumb is not standard on an excavator. It's an add-on. They're going to come, especially the big ones, they don't even usually have a thumb at all, but the smaller ones like this are going to have a thumb. Mine has a thumb over there. This one has a thumb. It's a factory thumb too. It's not an add-on. And a lot of rental places won't allow you to have a thumb, or they won't put a thumb on their machine because they don't want you lifting a lot of things and damaging the machine. I've actually asked them that. I'm like, hey, do you have a machine with a thumb? And they said, no, we won't do that because our machines will come back wrecked, because people are trying to pick up things that are too heavy with them, and they'll flip the excavator over and said it's just not worth it to them. So If you're buying or renting and you want to pick up stuff, this is invaluable. I would say most operators within a couple minutes can pick up a little tiny stick on the ground with a thumb, and it just saves you so much time from getting out of the machine, especially if you're like grading something and there's a lot of roots and stuff in the ground. You don't want to get out of your machine and move those roots so you get a nice grade. You can just pick this up, you can pick stumps up, you can pick up logs and put them on a sawmill. So a thumb to me is almost like having an engine in an excavator. It needs both of them. So all excavators basically operate the same as far as the controls. I'm not going to go over them because that's something, if you're buying or renting, that they're either going to go over with you, or you're going to find most machines are the same. You're going to have a joystick on the left, a joystick on the right. That's going to control all of your functions of your boom and your bucket. You're going to have something that controls your blade, make it go up and down. And you're going to have foot pedals and what they call granny sticks, or hand levers here to operate your tracks. And a lot of machines, the house can stay still and the boom can go left or right, and there'll be a foot pedal for that. But I hardly ever use that. But when it comes down to the weight class of the machine, what can this KX40 do that that one can't, that KX71 can't? I was using this for grading on some 30-degree slopes on my pond. And that's not a really steep slope, but when you're on a less wide tracked machine, this machine was a lot more stable. I've only had this machine for a couple days. I was doing a lot of the work with that machine, and in a lot of the slopes, I either felt so unstable that I wouldn't do it anymore, or the machine would start sliding sideways because it's not a very wide track. I went on that same exact slope with this machine, and I could not only stick that slope, stay glued to that slope, but I could also push dirt with it. I not only had the ability to not slide, but I also had the ability to do work with it. And that's two different things. The one thing is to be able to be there. The other thing is to be able to do work while you're there. Another thing is lift capacity. I had to lift 3,000-pound sacks of clay with something, and I didn't have anything to lift with, so that's primarily why I got this excavator, because I already had one that I could dig with. And this can lift up to 4,000 pounds. That one can lift about 1,000 pounds, and that's a huge difference. Now, just because it can lift 4,000 pounds doesn't mean that it's as stable as it is not lifting something. Even with all the increased track width of this machine, the extra power, I've got that dozer blade I can put out there and put on the ground to give me stability. You can still tip a big machine like this over and stay within the capacities of the machine. So to wrap this up, here's some final thoughts. Number one, do you want to rent or do you want to own? If you want to rent for one particular job, then size the machine for that job and try to get the biggest one you can get. Because if you got plenty of space to work, why have this small machine when you can have that big one? You're only going to have it for a week, and the rental difference in price is probably going to be minimal. If you're going to buy and own a machine, I personally would say this size. Now, I'm not in construction. We're out here on a homestead. We have 20 acres. We do a lot of digging up of stumps. We put in a lot of infrastructure like water lines and electrical lines. Do some grading with it. Do a lot of brush clearing with it. I can get in tight spaces with this and clean up all the brush that grows in between our pine trees around here. So this size machine is more suitable to what I do. Let's say they were both $10,000 machines, and they're not. They're way more expensive than that. And I could walk on a lot and he goes, I'll sell you this one for $10,000 and I'll sell you that one for $10,000. Well, from a functionality standpoint, I'm taking this one every day because it is the one that works better for me in my environment. I don't have a lot of open spaces. I will say that, like I already mentioned, it does big level grading better as far as it pushes a lot of dirt, a lot more dirt than this one can. It's just got a lot more power. You can go up inclines, just like straight going up an incline, and it has no problem going up it, where there were inclines I couldn't go up with this machine just because it didn't have enough horsepower. It's a 27.5 horsepower machine. It's plenty to do the work that it's designed to do, but it is limited in power. If you want it to climb and also try to spin the house at the same time, it doesn't have enough power to run the hydraulics to do that. So you're going to lose one of those functions. You're going to move the handle and something's not going to work because the power is being applied to the tracks. It's all about the priority of the hydraulic system. In that one, it's 40 horsepower, and most of the time it's not using that 40 horsepower, but it is available when you need it. So you can climb better with that, you can hold slopes better with that, you can pick up more, and you can not only pick up more and use a bigger bucket, but you can take that weight and extend it out away from the excavator without it making the excavator tippy. If I were to put the same weight, this can lift 1,000 pounds, but one time I was picking up a piece of concrete and I picked it up, and then when I went out to put it in the dumpster, the hydraulics just couldn't handle it on the excavator, and the hydraulics just let it back down to the ground because it's got a relief valve in it and it won't allow it to hold that out. This thing did the same thing to me yesterday when I was holding those 3,000 pound sacks. I went to extend it out and the hydraulics couldn't handle it, so it lowered it back on the ground. But it was 3,000 pounds versus, you know, a 500 pound piece of concrete. So that would be my closing advice. If you're gonna buy one, have it where it can do everything. And if you're gonna rent one, try and go as big as possible. And then I'll give one last thought. You see, neither one of these have a cab. And I have a friend that has a KX57, same series as that excavator, but it has more horsepower as far as the frame size, it's the same. And he has a cab, and I used it for a few minutes, and it is a wonderful machine. It's brand new, heat, air conditioning, but with a cab, your windshields get dirty, you limit your amount of visibility, and although an open station gets hot, it's less maintenance. And with the shade on top, I mean, I run this thing in 100 degrees in the Florida summer, and yeah, I get warm and I sweat a little, but it's no big deal, and I'd much rather do that than worry about the maintenance of a cab. And another thing is visibility. So I guess I have two major closing points. One is the cab, and the other thing is visibility. This machine, when I'm on it, no matter where I spin the house, no matter what I'm doing, I can see from this operator station, I can look over and see the side of my track. I can look forward and see the front of my track. If I happen to be in reverse, I can look over my shoulders and see the blade. No matter where I am in the house on this machine, I have visibility. One, because it's an open station, and two, because the cowlings and everything are low. It's a small machine, and I need that for what I do. I found using this for the past few days, again, it's a great machine. It's awesome, lots of power, does lots of things, but you're sitting up there, you're up kind of high, your cowlings are kind of big, and there's times if you move the house, you can't see this right here, and this may be important to you. You may be next to a foundation or something like that. I was doing some grading and, you know, maybe had the house in a different direction, and I can't see anything over here. This is just too high. I'm too far away from it. You can see as I stand next to this machine, I'd be sitting way over there. That is too far away to look over this side, and this side is high. When you're sitting there, you just gotta kind of guess where the edge of your track is, whereas in the KX71, I can look over and see it. So that goes back to if I was given the choice of I could have either one of these machines for $10,000 and take the finances out of it as far as which one is worth more, I just wouldn't buy this machine. It's too big for what I do, and I really enjoyed using it. It's just on an everyday basis, it would probably cause me to cause more damage to my buildings and trees and stuff than it's worth. So that's something else to consider, but that's more if you're gonna buy than if you're gonna rent. Guys, I've been wanting to make this video for a while, but I've not had two different size excavators out here on the property, and that's a loaner, so that's going away in a couple days. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to put some information out there and also kind of field some questions. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them down in the comments. And if I don't know the answer, I'm sure another viewer who has more experience with different machines can possibly ask your questions, because these are expensive. This machine, brand new, if Kubota still makes it, would be about $50,000. So you don't want to get the wrong machine. So I'm just trying to help you guys out there with your purchase or rental decisions, but I can only base it based on my experience and what I know, and that's what I know at this point. But that'll wrap it up for today's video, folks. We sure appreciate you watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.